Today's headlines with Tim Campbell and Nick Ferrari. Morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi. Let's start with this. Pressure bill for Justin Welby to resign as the Archbishop of Canterbury after John Smythe's crimes were brought to light in a review investigation. This is an independent review by Keith Makin into the Church of England. The handling of the allegations of serious abuse by the late John Smythe was released on the 7th of November 2024. Nick, you've been talking about this a lot this morning.
I have, and we played some of an interview I did with the Archbishop of Canterbury. It's important to stress there's no suggestion in any way, shape or form that he has any involvement in here. His crime is a sin of omission. His friendship goes back to this man, and he is the most prolific sex abuser the Church of England has ever had. Anywhere between about 100 and 150 boys and young men were groomed and then sexually abused both in this country and in South Africa. Welby had actually known him from the 70s. Again, no suggestion of any inappropriate involvement there. But as he becomes the Archbishop of Canterbury, he's made aware in 2013 of concerns over John Smythe. Put it bluntly, he doesn't act as quickly as he does. He doesn't elevate it. He's told by another bishop who's in charge of pastoral care, and he should have done more. When questioned last week over this, he said, I have reflected on whether I should resign. I don't think I should. Dermot Catt, I have to tell you, I think it's going away from him, actually. I want to say I've had the privilege of meeting with him. I've interviewed him on a number of occasions. He is a very decent man. He's a very earnest man. He will be taking this as seriously as is possible. But I have to say, if you are effectively the chief executive of an organisation of this size, allegations of this gravity, and I repeat, and I won't go into detail, but these are the worst possible cases within the church, and you're the chief executive or the boss or the Archbishop of Canterbury, and you don't promote further action, I'm afraid you've a lot of questions to answer.
Can I ask you a question? So he was told about it in 2013.
Yes.
When did he then do... When was something done about it?
Something was done, so it still fell to the Bishop of Ely because the person who made the initial complaint was one of his flock. So he continued with it, but then it didn't really get anywhere until 2017, when Hampshire Police started to investigate the man who was then living in South Africa. He then sustains a fatal heart attack and dies the next year. And then Channel 4 started a documentary. So nothing was done for 4 years. Well, not enough was done. The Church would argue, well, we still had the Bishop of Ely looking at it. The Archbishop should have done more over those 4 years.
And over the 4 years were young...
I'm afraid they were still going on. It is believed almost up to the point of his death. Up to the point of Smythe's death.
4 years.
Think about abuse within the church. Probably naively, you think about it as quite a historical thing. This is so recent.
Correct.
Tim, I mean, I was watching a lot of the news last night, and the thing that came back to me is how can they be marking their own homework?
This is difficult. You've got the national safeguarding team within the church who's actually looking and to safeguard the individual. But to Nick's point, when you're the chief executive of an organisation, particularly when you've got young people involved, safeguarding is at the heart of everything that you have to do. I'm chair of a governor of a school, the same school I went to, and every day we get reports of making sure that our children are the most safe in the institution that we look after. I think the difficulty with this is that you've got an individual who's been quite prominent in pushing the boundaries of the church, having discussions about same-sex marriages and bringing the church, it's almost into the modern day vision for many individuals. And the difficulty is there's a lot of people who may have made enemies of in different places. Not to say that this is anything why it's being promoted, but it also that means you don't have a lot of friends who may be defending you. There's a number of people, 3 individuals, very prominent individuals within the church have come together and pushed this really hard. And I think the difficulty now, the signatures now have gone over 10,000 and the momentum is not on his side.
I was going to say, at what point do you think that tips?
Well, it's the general... So their parliament is called the General Synod, and you've already got a fairly prominent bishop who broke ranks, which is quite rare, the Bishop of Newcastle, and she made it plain on the radio yesterday that she thought he has to go. Another problem is that the Prime Minister was asked on his trip to Baku, where he's gone to a climate conference. Now, he quite rightly said, look, this is the job of the General Synod. That's actually not offering any support. If there had just been a scintilla, well, I'm sure the Archbishop or I support that. So that is being cited as well. I mean, put plainly, I think he's in a very, very difficult position. I don't know how he'll come back from this, which, notwithstanding he should have done more, I say again, he is a decent bloke.
But my thing is that the focus should be on those victims. We've got to really make sure, because that is where the trouble has really happened. But essentially, you as the head of an establishment, you have to take responsibility for what happens on your watch. And this is quite a big mission.
And to your point, the victims, if they were ever to get closure, that would have been to see this vile sexual person get treatment and get some kind of charge, and it'll never happen.
Children should always be protected.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.